Welcome to a 1 vs 1 analysis between DanWarior here in blue. He requested this replay, starting a Ruger factor and a recon commander, and is against Psaniac, up here in the air jumping away. So he's gonna jump. He started up on this position, and now he's jumping down. Let's see what factor he makes. That's an interesting choice. He's making shield bots. Maybe it makes some sense that you want to place a little bit slower shield bots down here. So let's see here how he does against DanWarior here. DanWarior starts with a Mason. It's idle for a bit. He could probably use it. It wasn't idle for too long. But yeah, usually it looks like both players are going for an economic start with 2 cons at the start. And that's a pretty good choice on this map, I think. Like, there's a lot of mixes, and it's pretty hard to raid. You can, like, if you send out a Scorcher or a Dart, it can be annoying to deal with. So yeah, you can do some raiding, and it's nothing wrong with doing some raiding on this map. But yeah, if you get just 2 Lotus turrets up, like one there and one there, yeah, you're pretty safe from raiding. It's hard to do cost-effective raiding once you have 2 Lotus turrets like that. So DanWarior is being pretty defensive, but on the other hand, like Psaniac is also being pretty defensive. He sends 2 bandits. That's about a little more expensive than making 2 Lotus turrets, but about the same price. And wind generators, you want to go for wind generators? Yeah, up on this hill, it's pretty good to go for wind generators with 0.4 minimum wind. So yeah. Yeah, Psaniac is also being a bit defensive here. Now this position is defensive, and he can see all incoming raiders here. So personally, I would prefer to make just a single dart to scout out the enemy to be prepared, because, say for example, the enemy is like want to do a rush, like to do a maze rush or like a scorch rush, sending like 4 scorchers coming down here, and you're not prepared for it. Yeah, you're gonna like lose expansion and everything. So sending out a single dart, especially when you're like Rovers, is a good choice. It's only 40 metal, and it's gonna make its way across the map very quickly. Then you can, for example, like Psaniac isn't raiding at all. If you had like 1 or 2 darts instead of these Lotus turrets, instead of having to pre-build those Lotus turrets, you can send out just 2 darts across the map like this, and then you don't have to make those Lotus turrets. You can delay them. Like for example, if you have 2 darts out, you would have scouted all this position. You would see that the enemy has bandits in their base and their position here. Then you know you can't really raid this because the enemy is so defensive. It's really hard to raid convicts when they have a shield. So yeah, with just 2 darts, you could have delayed all these units, all these Lotus turrets. You wouldn't have to need to build them at all. Like you could about this time you see, oh, the enemy's moving out with 5 bandits. Okay, I need to make this Lotus turrets. And you would have these mexes would have been active for longer, and you would also have noticed, like, do you really need this Ripper? Like, yeah, it's very safe to have this Ripper and this Lotus turret. So it's a very defensive play, which you can kind of get away with on this map, because yeah, if you try to expand too much, it's kind of hard to take all these positions at the same time. So yeah. And yeah, with the Raider here and the Commander here, yeah, you're gonna see all incoming threats. Yeah. Yeah, so both players are being pretty defensive here. And it looks like DanWarior is responding with a Dominatrix against the Shield Ball. And expecting a Shield Ball, a Dominatrix is pretty good. However, if the enemy goes for like rogues and bandits, yeah, Dominatrix is not going to do much against rogues and bandits. So it depends on the composition the enemy is going for. Maybe you have experience playing Psaniac and you expect a shield ball, like yeah, the enemy is already making thugs and an outlaw, so yeah, a Dominatrix is good against that. And here you have a lone Scorcher. It's almost out of position, but the bandits choose to go here instead. And they might be able to have some successful raiding as his Ripper is out of position. But it looks like you're gonna be able to reinforce in time, or maybe you lose one. And what's going on here? Gonna try to capture the commander here, and it's close. You kill the Lotus turret out, so yeah. In this terrain is kinda risky. Oh, no, you capture the mechs instead. That's the thing, you have to really micromanage, maybe even turn your... Yeah, it's on hold fire now. I didn't exactly see your micro there. Oh, and you might even get this commander, that's so funny. That's a bad move by Psaniac. Yeah. But yeah, Psaniac is being pretty greedy here, and yeah, he lost his commander for that. Let's see if he can keep it. Like, yeah, just retreating the dominatrix back to your base is a big blow to steal a commander. That's 4 extra metal income and 6 extra metal. So yeah, together with the commander, you should be able to wipe out this army easily. Like, just jump in with the commander and drain the shields and have the scorchers. You should easily be able to kill this army. Even this lone ripper. Oh damn, this ripper is just ripping apart the shield ball. You just lost 2 scorchers there. That's a nice trade. Or only 1 scorcher there. Yeah, shield balls aren't what they used to be. So yeah, this ripper paid off in the end. And looks like, yeah, so at this point, yeah, you're really making a lot of progress. Like, there's a thing as well, like, a few darts wouldn't have been wrong. Like, if you had a dart here, the enemy wouldn't have been able to take this position uncontested. You could send the dart to attack this convict, and then send, if you see the convict coming there, you send the scorcher there or something. But those are kind of small things. You get a rogue there. And Rippers, I mean, they're decent against the shield ball because they're gonna splash damage across. So if the outlaw is in the front of the thugs, yeah, it's gonna take a lot of damage against the splash damage, even if the Rippers hit the shields. Against thugs, if the thugs are on the front, yeah, you're not gonna do a lot of damage to the thug, but some damage. So yeah. But the rogues are still a problem for you. Like, you're gonna have to be dancing all the time. So it depends, like, the shield ball is growing. And now your commander is kinda out of position here. Building a stinger there, it's kinda protected, but you didn't get it up in time. Yeah, you might have been a bit late with retreating here. Realizing this shield ball is coming for your commander, you should probably have retreated much earlier. And you have this huge army that's not doing anything. Oh, and this is gonna be close. You might actually be able to do a bit of damage here. Making a bad situation a bit better. But yeah, your army is just completely... If you just send your army here, yeah, you would be able to, like, reinforce your commander in time. Like, yeah, this army is not out of position, but yeah, you could definitely save your commander at this point. Like, this is a decent choice, like, just to go for Lotus turrets here, just to keep your commander alive. You don't really have the knowledge of the shield ball here, but you guess that one is there. And then there's a lone felon here. Yeah, like, when there's just 2 lone felons like that, you probably want to consider... just sending in, sacrificing the Rippers, maybe you lose 2 or 3, and then sending the Scorchers. Like, yes, if you can drain these felons, they're gonna be dead soon. Oh, and Psaniac went for a aircraft factory. I guess it's gonna stun all your units. If you're on point here, if you see this, you could jump in time. But you don't jump in time, so yeah. So yeah, now you're gonna lose your commander, which is, I mean, it's kind of a blow. You invested quite a bit of defense here. You delay some X income, but you still have your enemy commander, so it's still pretty fine. Although you're losing this position, I don't really see... This army should be able to deal with this, just like have the fencers draining the thug shields and then send in the rippers, and they're gonna damage them all and try to dodge the rogue shots. Yeah, the rippers are a bit delayed. You probably want to try to send in these rippers first, and then send in the scorchers. Oh, nice. The enemy got back their commander. Yeah, you can see the line from the commander, I think. So yeah, he knew it was in base. So yeah, that's a good move by Psaniac. Can you prevent that? Yeah, you can have the commander in range of defenses, your own defenses, so it dies. So yeah, should you expect that as soon as the enemy goes for air? Maybe. Still, these badgers haven't really paid off. They've been shooting at the Phalons, but yeah, it's gonna take a while for a few badgers to drain a Phalon, and even longer for them to do any significant damage. Yeah, and trying to attack two... yeah. You have to synchronize your attack with the Thunderbirds if we want to go against two Phalons, because two Phalons is gonna just shoot down a single Thunderbird like that without doing damage. So yeah, if you had synchronized your Thunderbird, it would have been fine, and you can have follow-up. Oh, you don't have any Scorcher follow-up. Okay, I mean, if you don't even have any Scorcher follow-up, levelers are barely fast enough to catch Phalons. Like, yeah, 45 Elmos versus 62, you can catch them, but you need to be really close, so yeah. That's the thing, you need to think about your army composition when you're going for Thunderbird. Like, you can gain some time, even if you have a slow army, just by Thunderbirding the shield ball. But yeah, Rippers are not quite fast enough, unless you're right on top of the enemy shield ball to catch up, so... Oh, and that's a good thing. This is gonna do quite a bit of damage. Yeah, that's what, 5 badgers killed? That's making cost already by these Phoenix. So yeah, you wasn't spread out enough. And that's also a thing when you're expecting the enemy, like you know the enemy has air. You probably, it's like hard, you can get bombed one by one by these badgers can get bombed one by one by ravens. So if you spread out too much and don't have an AA, the ravens can sort of like kill off the badgers one-on-one. So yeah, it's hard to protect these badgers. Like, you have to keep the Rippers really close to protect against both Phoenixes and ravens. So it's hard to say what the right thing to do in that situation is. And yeah, Aliko is a good choice, but you want to be really careful with how deep you go against the shield ball. Like the Rippers here, you can see they dealt fine with they killed one of the Phoenixes, but now your army is kind of getting out of position here. Like, this army might not escape. Yeah, it was a bad choice to go this way. Like, if the enemy has Thunderbird, you gotta be really careful. Like, Reapers aren't good enough to prevent being Thunderbirded, like two Phalons are, so you gotta be really careful with how you move out your army on this map when the enemy has Thunderbirds. I think, yeah, now this army just risks being Thunderbirded and killed without doing, like, any damage. So the game is really turning around. You made quite a few bad choices. There were, like, Aliko, yeah, it takes quite a while if you take damage, so you gotta be careful. Is this, yeah, this shield is low enough that you can get a good hit, so that's nice. The Thunderbird, yeah, they're still like two Phalons behind, and they're gonna kill the Thunderbird without much problem. And are you gonna manage to do any damage with this army? Here comes another Phoenix, and yeah, you damage the Phoenix, but yeah, that's a thing. You have, it's like hard to spread out if you spread out the army too much, then enemy can use air to kill it, and if you have it too dense and too clumped, yeah, the enemy might get you with area of effect damage with and that's too good, Liquid Shouts, yeah. Like, yeah, none of you are, like, now the enemy is gonna have to transition somehow, because the shield balls are really gonna, these Licos are really gonna melt the shield balls now. But that was quite an investment. So yeah, you have lost a lot of the map getting these Licos. Was these Licos the best choice in this situation? You lost a lot of positioning and yeah, but now you have 2 Licos, so it's hard to tell if the Licos was a good choice in this situation. Like making 400 metal in Licos, it's gonna take a long time before they pay off. Like they probably paid off about now that you kill these shield ball, but yeah. But the shield ball also made a lot of damage to use, so I'd say you're still technically behind for having made these Licos. So yeah, it depends on how much tempo you can get. But now that you have them, the shield wall might suffer. This is a fully healthy shield. It's not gonna do much, but you don't take much damage in return. And if you send in the second Lico now, yeah, this shield wall should be completely open. So let's see here. Yeah, that's a good shot. You kill both of the felons. You might lose a Lico now, but you're also gonna kill... Or do you have enough? AA? Will it land in time? Oh, nice. Yeah. Your Lico even survives with just 65 health. Yeah, but yeah, Licos take a while to reload. But yeah, the enemy has grabbed a lot of territory, so their income should be pretty much a lot better than yours now. You're also reclaiming it, so you're getting some from that. And this army managed to do something, I guess. Stay alive for a while. So yeah. Now the thing is that the Lico takes a long time to repair. But if you have it repairing, yeah, it's good to repair because it's hard to make attrition without taking damage. Although this army, yeah, it's completely... You could bomb this army now. Like, you have a Lico ready, you could just go here and bomb it. There's no felons there. You could be a bit scared by these Swifts, but you have a lot of AA. So if you're bombing something close to your AA, the Swifts will die pretty quickly without doing too much damage to you. Yeah, and here comes your Licos. Like, your Licos is... Yeah, they're paying off now. But the question is, have you sacrificed too much territory to these Licos? Okay. In the face of all this AA and all these... Yeah, your enemy shouldn't be able to, like... Yeah, you should be able to punish the shield balls a lot with the Licos now. Going for the Merlin, I think that's a bad choice. You're not in an artillery duel. Unless you're in an artillery duels, I wouldn't really recommend the Merlin. Like, in this situation, imagine instead of having 3,500 metal, or actually, with the extra cost of the Strider hub, that's another 4,200 metal that you could be roaming around the map with Scorchers or anything. Like, the enemy has nothing at this point. Your Licos are making work on these felons, and you're forcing out AA, so the enemy has nothing. The enemy has nothing really now. They don't have anything to protect their expansions, just these walls. So that's kind of funny, like the enemy just have walls to protect these positions. But you could still bomb this, like 2 Licos, you could kill the commander. If the commander could escape if they're paying attention, I guess, if they're lucky, and jump away. But yeah, now this... Yeah, you would be raiding these positions, you would be overrunning these positions, you would be overrunning these positions with 4,200 metal, yeah. That would really change the game if you had just 4,200 metal in whatever Rover unit, really. If you had 4,200 metal in Rippers or Scorchers or Ravagers, they would just be overrunning all the place. Yeah, and you would be taking this territory for yourself. This is a pretty good choice by Psaniac. It's pretty smart to just make a shallow wall like this. Like if you check these positions, yeah, they can't pass this wall really. Yes, this little wall is cheap, and the enemy can't really get to the wall, so it slows you down a lot. That's a decent shot. That's quite a bit of AA, so it's risky to send in your Licos here, and one of the Licos hasn't been fully repaired. Meanwhile, these two bandits, yeah, they're harassing this position. So yeah, you're not managing to expand. Let's see if this Merlin can do any work. Like, imagine having 4,200. Oh, you can't. Trying, yeah. How many did you send? Did you send 2 Licos against this? It's a lot of AA. They're gonna one-shot the fun. It's basically. And the first salvo, it kills 1 rogue and 1 outlaw. A thing with, like, a Merlin is decent against shield balls, especially if it has large shields. It's a good way to drain them. So it's gonna enable your Licos to do more damage. Oh, and you didn't manage to get any of these. Oh, one Crasher falls into water. It's kind of nice. And yeah, this is decent. Delaying the Stinger, trying to overrun it with Scorchers. Yeah, that's good. That's good, actually. If you can get her in time, yeah, you should be able to get the Stinger. And then your Fencers can maybe drain these shields. Yeah, that's a good way to progress. Meanwhile, the enemy is running into Rippers. That's not too good idea. Rippers are decent against shield walls, like this in this situation, when there's no Felons that can burst down the bad Rippers. You lost your Scorchers now, and you're losing your AA. It's kind of unnecessary to lose the AA. The thing with the Merlin, it's not really good at hitting mobile units. So if you just, you like, yeah, it's too accurate actually to hit. It's generally accurate to hit mobile units. Like you might be targeting. Like if you look at this circle, usually the circle is really small. Like usually hit an area like this big with concentrated damage. And that's really easy to avoid with a mobile army. So if you look at this hit, yeah, you kill 1 Felon, and it's basically, this is the area that you're doing damage in when you're shooting with the Merlin. So it's a really small area that you're actually doing damage to, and it's easy to avoid. Like if your army is, if you're actually watching the projectiles of the incoming Merlin shot and listen to the sounds, it's really easy to dodge these projectiles. This looks like a good hit. The shields managed to soak up much of damage, so yeah. It's about this area, and you killed, yeah, about this area. And you killed 2 of the convicts in there, so you're doing some work, but really it's a oh, and this is a good Scorcher switch from psaniac. Is he gonna get the Merlin? Ah, yes, barely. It's lucky for you. Oh, 96 HP. So close. So yeah, what you wanna do is now your Licos are not doing anything. They have been idle for quite a while now. You need to always have them in a hotkey. Like bind into hotkey so they're always ready to be used. Like this shield army, it's kind of low. You could probably, like, you come in with 1 Lico here, you'd shoot these Felons, and if you just target the edge, yeah, this is nice. These Felons are low, so they couldn't really unload in time, and you kill the first Licos, the first Felons, and yeah, you killed 3 Felons there in 1 fell swoop. That's like, yeah, your Licos are still gonna be able to do work. That's the thing, even if the enemy has Felons, if you're careful, you can still bomb the outer part of the shield ball. And yeah, but you gotta be careful with how you approach it so you don't fly over them accidentally. Because if there's several Felons, or even just 1 Felon and some AA, it's easy to lose the Lico. And you have to make sure they're repaired after each run, so yeah. Oh, I forgot to enable yeah, you're doing a lot more. You're killing a lot of value against the enemy. And here, are you reacting? You should be bombing these. I guess you're too busy trying to defend this Merlin. So yeah, your Lickos here are idle again, but in this situation I understand it can be hard to focus. You have to be scared about this Merlin that's really low in health. You probably should send out a con or two to repair it. It's gonna regenerate health slowly on itself, but yeah. This looks like your attention is being spread thin here. Oh, and you get the commander. It's nice. Did you get it in the air? Yeah, that's nice. You could have been done, arguably could have done the same like 5 minutes ago. Your Lickos you haven't been using your Lickos that much all the time. But yeah, your Lickos, the combination of being able to drain the shield with the Merlin and the Lickos, then finishing off the shield wall, is really strong combo in that sense. So you really have the tools to make attrition, and Psaniac has a really small army. If you look at the army value here, yeah, Psaniac has been behind all the time, but his economy has been doing great meanwhile. So it's really your Lickos that's doing all this attrition. And you're technically ahead in value. Yeah. I would be worried out sending out this Merlin alone. Like, if there's just one Raven here, they could finish off the Merlin. I don't... It's like... I guess you're trying to do some damage on the base. But yeah, you lose the Merlin against a single Raven because it's so low on health, and that's kind of unnecessary, I'd say. And at this situation, you lost all your AA, and that was just bad. You didn't need to lose your AA. The enemy didn't have a lot of air, and you just sent your army forward and lost all your AA. You have to be careful about that. It's a thing that's a bit... It takes a bit of like attention to manage. If you have an army, you want your AA to be close to it so the enemy can bomb your badgers. But then then it's also easy to just send your army forward on a fight command, an attack move, and then the AA just goes in and dies, which is basically what happened before. And that AA didn't need to die. So it's a attention thing, I'd say. Like you want to keep the AA alive, but you also want to protect your army. And now you're completely out of AA, and that made you lose your whole army basically. So yeah, that was a pretty big mistake earlier to lose your AA. I think you had like five crashers that were alive, and that's 1,000 metal. And now, yeah, the economy of the enemy is kind of turning this around. And that's a thing, if you have Lickos, you want to always have some AA. Because if you have some AA, it's gonna make, like, if the enemy goes for a swift transition to try to counter your Lickos, they're gonna die if they try to go for the Licko. The Lickos have so much health, and the Swifts are so stupid that they like to fly in front of the Licko, so they tend to, like, go in and do some damage, send off their missiles, and then they tend to fly in front of the Licko. And then they won't be shooting at the Licko, and that gives your units so much time to shoot down the Swifts. And that's a weird choice to go send off your Locust to die. You know the enemy has air, and they probably have a few Swifts, so it's a bad gamble. Even if you haven't seen the enemy fighters, it's a bad gamble usually to send off lone gunships like this. Unless you have a large, like, you can send AA with the gunships. If you send some AA with the gunships, yeah, that's good. And the Raptor transition, Raptors aren't gonna do much to kill Lickos, but they're gonna do great against Harpies. So, yeah, Psaniac did well to counter these gunships with Raptors. But yeah, if you're sending the Raptors in against these Lickos, yeah, they're not going to do much. But yeah, your Lickers are still key here, because they're really keeping your attrition value up here. But the enemy is starting to get out some AA, and now you have to be very careful, like, getting enough AA. And you're still investing into, yeah, you stopped investing into air, but yeah, I don't, it's easy raptors in that sense. If the enemy has some ground AA like this, it's easy to do any work with raptors really. Because even if they have a lot of health, if they fly in and try to kill the enemy bombers over the enemy AA, it's really hard to actually like be cost effective. The bombers can just turn around and flee because the raptors, they slow down when they're moving. I mean, raptors slow down when they're firing, so it's really easy to just escape with bombers if you like getting on a fire. So if you're trying to deal with like bombers over enemy A, the enemy A bombers might be here, and you send in raptors, and the raptors slow down, and then the crashers start doing damage, the AA start doing damage against raptors, and the bombers can just fly away, and yeah, you lost a lot of health, or maybe even lost the raptors, and you haven't probably even killed the bomber. So yeah, that's also a reason why you always want to keep some AA around, because against this many raptors, it's risky to go in for a bombing run. So yeah, now you might lose a Lico, but if you had your AA trailing this army, the raptors would have had to like retreat, or they would have been killed by your AA. So that's, even if you have, that's also a reason, even if the enemy just have raptors, you want to have some AA to force the raptors away. And then you can go in and send in your bombers, and they can use your Licos. And then the raptors won't have time to kill the Lico, because they're too far away and they slow down too much. Yeah. And now the enemy is responding with Licos, but at this point, yeah, it looks really over. You don't really have any, like, you have one Lico that can make attrition on the enemy, but the enemy also has a Lico and the whole map, so yeah. This is all but over. So yeah, if we look at metal produced, you have been behind like half the game. And yeah, what else can you say? You made really good attrition, mostly due to the Licos, I would say. Like, if you see the army value, can you see the... You can probably see when you're like losing Licos and stuff like that, and when you made them. So yeah. Your gridding? Yeah, your gridding seemed to have been okay. Yeah. Let's speed this up a bit. You're going for spiders to counter the rogues, I suppose. Yeah, really, his economy is just too strong in this situation. So, if we look back at the game, you can see here that you were pretty even in metal for half the game, and then the enemy just got all this expansion. I think it like you were actually ahead in like total you were actually ahead in total value. Especially this is after you took the enemy commander, and that was a really good thing for you. The enemy lost a lot of value, and you gained a lot of income in that sense. You can see here capturing the enemy commander. But then you got your commander like out of position here, and that was kind of bad. Like this was a big shield ball, and you had your commander and a few units there, and you tried to get a stinger up here. Like getting a stinger up here, that's kind of hard. Is it good against shield balls? I mean, a shield ball can just close the distance, and if you don't have enough army here to like deal with it, or the enemy could just have a Racketeer and stun the stinger. So I don't think making a stinger here against shield balls is a good idea. A big shield ball, like, if you want to protect this area, you gotta go through here, and the shield ball can be here. That means it can easily like zone out the army here, and then it can just tank. The shields can tank damage from the stinger, and the enemy can just kill the stinger there. So I think going for a stinger there was a bad choice against shield balls. Against other factory, it might be a much better choice, because then you will kill the skirmishers trying to kill it. It's probably not a good idea against cloaky bots, because they can probably just send some artillery, some slingers, stand here or here and just destroy it. So, but against like rovers, if you get a stinger up there, that's a good choice. They only have like, they can make an impaler, I guess. That's kind of expensive. Badges can slowly kill it. Yeah, it depends. Anyway, I think against a shield ball, it's a pretty bad idea to make a stinger there. It's easy to overrun. It's hard to like reinforce this position. But then you make a good thing out of a bad situation, and you jump on top of here, and you start building defense. And that's the 9 mexes, and you kept your commander alive. And yeah, that's a pretty good choice. But the thing is, you had a big army here, and just at that point, you were going for a badger switch. You started making a lot of badgers. And the badgers against shield wall is so, I think. Like, if you can get enough badgers, like, you were ahead at that point, so it's not a bad thing to make badgers against a shield ball if you're ahead. Because if the badgers just keep firing at the shield ball, you're gonna drain it, and if then you try to go for a rogue combo, like a rogue bandit combo, you're gonna do a lot of damage against the rogues. So badger isn't necessarily bad against shield balls. But then the badgers were just hitting this Felon ball here, and not really penetrating. Like, if the enemy has a little shield ball, and you're gonna start firing at it with just like 5 badgers, they're not really gonna do anything. Like, if the shield ball gets slow, they can just retreat, and you can't really chase it down because the Felon's still gonna have some charge. If you don't have anything to chase it down, like Ravagers or Scorcher, the shield block can just retreat to the base there. So the initial badgers didn't do anything really for quite a while. They were just hitting these felons and not damaging them, just draining their shields a bit. And then you had this commander up at this position making defense. And then it's like, yeah, you have all these Scorchers and Rippers, and the enemy shield wall was over here, moving here. If you just reinforced through this position and avoided the felons here, or if the felons got exposed, you could just have killed them with your Rippers and units. Yeah, you would have held this position fine. Even when the Thunderbird came out, if you had some mobile units here, the Thunderbird couldn't really have like stunned them all. Like, you have defenses here, and you have mobile units here, and the enemy's just making Scorchers here. Yeah, you can just if the enemy comes in with a Thunderbird, they have to choose if they want to stun a force that's mobile or the commander, and you can jump away the commander and keep it firing. Yeah, so the badger timing here was really bad. Like, in this situation, these felons were alone. They could easily have been overrun by Scorchers or Ravagers, and the badgers didn't really have anything to shoot at, and it didn't have critical mass of badgers. and you lost your commander because of it. Because if you had just moved up here, you would have been able to like deal a lot of damage. You would have kept your commander alive. You had raided this position. The shield ball would have been out of position here, and you can like start building more ravagers or um, scorchers. And if the enemy comes to nearby, you can surround it and pound it. Yeah, from like when you're in this position, like you're controlling this whole area, you can like choose your target and like crush shield balls individually with groovers in that sense. So the initial batter switch was really bad, and then yeah, and then you lost your dominatrix, which catch up the enemy commander, which was kind of bad. And you went while you were making these licos. That's when you started losing all your metal income, I'd say. Like if you look at your army value here, you can see that this is when you made this is when you start making the licos, and yeah, and then you made the whole unnecessary Merlin. Like yeah, you started getting value after you made that lico. After you made those lico, you're starting pulling ahead in attrition. Before that, you were behind in attrition. Um, so yeah, the licos were like doing attrition, but the question is how much territory you lost because of it, because the enemy was pushing you back all the way here when you had those two licos done, and then you were starting to make value in that sense. But yeah, the Merlin was the really bad choice. Like it can drain a shield ball, but it can't finish off a shield ball. Combined with Licos, it's a decent choice, but at that point you had huge armor value. Like that's when you started getting ahead with your Licos. You were doing so much damage to the shield ball with just the Licos, and were so far ahead that if you had switched to Scorcher, you would have been able to take the whole map with just Scorchers. So yeah, that was a big other thing you like, big other mistake. And then you just kind of spread thin, and you couldn't really keep you were so far behind in metal income that the enemy could just spam out units, and your attention got divided, and you couldn't really take control of everything, and you lost your AA, and then you couldn't really protect your Merlin, so you lost your Merlin to the bombers because you lost your AA before, and then it went downhill from there, so to speak. That's when the enemy got ahead, so to speak. So yeah, an interesting game. So good luck and have fun.